Hey, yo, welcome back to the channel. Thank you for checking out another video. Today we're gonna check out what I consider the top 3 mistakes that people make when modding their Toyota Tacomas. And I know these because I made some of these myself. Let's get into it. Let's go. Mistake number 1 is not considering how you use your Tacoma on a daily basis, or at least how you use it most frequently. So for example, if you're using it as a daily driver, that may really change the kind of modifications that you're looking to make to your Tacoma. If you're using it as a second vehicle for off-roading, that's a little bit different story. For me, I use it as a daily driver, so I gotta take that into account. Also, are you using it for commuting? If you've got a 45-minute commute like I used to have, you're not gonna wanna build this outlanding rig that's all weighed down, that's all heavy, huge tires, big old tent on top, and you're getting 8 miles to the gallon, and you've gotta be driving that, back and forth to work for an hour and a half. So the number 1 thing is consider how you use it on a daily basis, and then from there, you can kind of decide what type of modifications are you gonna wanna have. For example, I do like to do a little bit of light off-roading, some trails, stuff like that, but I'm often taking people with me, so I'm probably not gonna put a molly bag on the back of my passenger and driver's seat, although I love how they look, I like all the gear they can carry, but the back seat already is pretty limited in space. So if I do that kind of a mod on my truck, I'm gonna really take that leg space right out of the back seat. It just doesn't make a lot of sense based on how I use my truck most often. All right, top modding mistake number 2 is not having a strategy, not having a plan for where you are going with your truck. Now, look, some people buy it for a very specific purpose, right? They're going off-roading or they wanna go camping, but for a lot of us, we buy the Tacoma, we wanted it for a while, but we're not necessarily sure exactly where we're gonna build it up to be. And if that's the case with you, you may wanna kind of take a look at it, look at how you use it like I mentioned in the first mistake, and then start to consider what your strategy is. Part of that strategy, I also think, should be your budget. One of the things that I've noticed that I get caught up in is, what's the next mod, what's the next mod, what's the next mod, and it's not always building towards a strategy that I really need to sit down and think, where do I really want to take this truck, number 1, and 2, how much is it going to cost me to get there, and how long is it going to take me? It's not a race. Sometimes I think we're keeping up with everybody else, every other Tacoma we see out there. We don't know how long they've had them. We don't know what their financial situation is. And look, maybe you've got unlimited expendable income and you can just go all in all at once. But most of us, we need to have a strategy, we need to have a budget. And having a strategy is actually gonna help you with your budget so that you're not putting things on your Tacoma and then 2 weeks or 2 months later realizing it's not really what I want, taking it off, trying to resell it if you can, losing money on it. So having a strategy is not only gonna help you know where you're going with it, but it's gonna save you on your budget as well. Speaking about having a strategy, let me give a shout out to 2 YouTubers out there that I think have done a great job with their strategy on modding their Tacomas. Very different strategy, in fact, extremely different strategy. One is Mumphy. If you haven't checked him out, check out Mumphy. He does a great job. He's building a off-roading, overlanding rig. It's a beautiful 2020 cement TRD off-road. You can see there's a strategy, you can see there's a plan, you can see his progression. It's a really good example of a great strategy for modding your Tacoma. The other one, a very different strategy and not for everybody, but pretty cool nonetheless, is Eng. He's got a strategy with his Voodoo Blue SR5. It's got blackout, it's got chrome, it's the two-face Tacoma, if you will, as he calls it, but a great strategy nonetheless, and you can really see he put some time and thought into it, and he's creating something that is good for him, which is another part of that strategy. Do a strategy that's good for you. Don't worry about everybody else. Tip number 3 is a huge mod mistake, and that's not doing enough research on the mods that you're doing. What's the quality? How does it fit your truck? How does it fit into your strategy? What's the cost? Can you find the same brand somewhere less? There's so many third-party mod accessory creators, manufacturers out there that there's lots of options, but they're definitely not all created the same. That doesn't mean you need to go with the most expensive mod. For example, I've got this Tyger tonneau cover. It's a soft roll-up, fits my needs perfectly. I did a lot of research on it, and it's been great, and it's one of the more affordable tonneau covers that you can find on Amazon. I've done an install video on it. I've done a 7-8 month review on it. It's held up perfectly, so I knew that it fit my needs. Now, if you need something that's gonna want to have some weight put on the top, a soft roll-up cover is not for you. So you got to really do the research. Find what's going to fit for you. Make sure that it's a quality piece of equipment. It's not to say there's not new people coming into the market, coming out with new things all the time, but you don't want to waste your money and you don't want to get off your strategy. So make sure that you are doing the research on the type of mods, price, the quality, how they're going to fit. The worst thing you could do is put something on that's going to mess up your Tacoma and really cost you a bunch of time and a bunch of money. So make sure you do your research. Don't make that mistake of just buying whatever you see out there. All right, before you go, I've got a bonus one for you. But before I do, comment down below. Have you made any of these modding mistakes, or are there any that I may have missed that are big mistakes that you see that people make while they're modding? Bonus modding mistake is don't make the mistake of overdoing it. There are a million products, accessories, hundreds of companies out there. You could literally just go crazy, spend way too much money. So I strongly recommend that you don't overdo it, right? Don't make it too awkward. Now you gotta do you, right? You gotta do what makes sense for you, what fits you, but overdoing it is a huge modding mistake, and often you see that on Tacomas that are driving around town. Just a quick video again talking about top 3 plus 1 bonus modding mistakes that I see people making when they're modding their Tacoma. Again, I've made some of these myself, so I totally get it. Hey, before you go ahead and smash subscribe, hit like, and we'll catch you in the next video. All right, peace out.